Hey fellas, this is Vince Miller. I am so excited you're joining us today. We're in a series entitled Defeating Repetitive Sin for Men. So if you've been wanting to beat up on that cycle that keeps beating up on you, you came to the right place today. Today's message is entitled The Effects of Bad Relationships. Now, before we dig in, as always, please go over to the website at beresolute.org. There are all kinds of awesome resources for men just like you, including the Men's Daily Devotional. Just hit that button at the top of the screen that says Men's Devo, and daily you'll receive verses from me from God's Word that I promise include thoughts that are short, sweet, and to the point, made for guys like you and I that'll help you to get into healthy rhythms in God's Word. Also, if you want to support the ministry, one of the great ways you can actually do that is by purchasing one of our all-in hats. I wear a different one in every episode, and there are tons on the website. Go there, check them out, purchase a hat. By purchasing a hat, you actually support the ministry and you support a valuable message that I think is perfect for men, that we are called to live all in for Him who lived all in for us. So help us to advance that message to the world. And finally, lastly, please hit the subscribe button literally right now. Hit that button right now because you want to get notified when new videos in this series come out. I think this is a great series, especially for guys like us, and encourage others to subscribe and follow along as well. Now, fellas, let's dig into the effects of bad relationships. Now, for some reason, we tend to think that the people that we hang out with do not have an impact on our lives. Why we believe this is insanity, and I'm afraid that it's tragically wrong. Your denial of this fact does not make it less true either. In fact, I believe a lot of the reasons that we get stuck in these repetitive issues with sin is that we haven't made changes to the one thing in our life that would actually change everything: our relationships, the people we hang out with, the people that we associate with, the people that we do life with, the people that we talk with and have conversations with. Now, today I'm just going to give you one verse, and we're going to unpack this one verse. It is a classic verse. It's from 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. Some of you have heard it before. It's easy to remember. Here's what Paul says to the church in Corinth. Do not be deceived, quote, bad company ruins good morals. That's it. Bad company ruins good morals. Now, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but did you notice how Paul, the writer, started out his axiomatic thought here? It began with this statement: do not be deceived. In other words, don't be fooled. Do not be an idiot. Don't be stupid. I'm about to tell you a truth, Paul says, that is so important that you should never forget it. Now, fellas, I want to unpack this because I think there's three things here that might help us today in defeating repetitive sin in our life, and they're all based upon this one verse and the relationships that we build. Here's point number one. Relationships affect you. Relationships affect you. You know, relationships are this powerful force. We sometimes deny it, but the presence of relationships makes a difference in our life. It can be powerfully negative or positive. And here are the facts. If you have healthy relationships in your life, did you know that you'll live longer, you'll heal quicker, you'll have lower blood pressure, you'll have a stronger immune system, and you'll be more physically fit just by having healthy relationships in your life? I mean, think about that just for a second. Now, a social psychologist at Harvard once said that your friends actually account for 90% of your success or your failure in life. 90%. Why? Well, fellas, because relationships affect you positively or negatively. And I actually think he's wrong. I think they actually 100% affect us. And how do I know this is true? Well, Jesus Christ, the ultimate relationship, has been affecting people for thousands of years through one positive relationship with Him. And actually, God saw that our relationship with Jesus Christ and him was so important that he sent Jesus here so that he could have a restored relationship with us. So yes, relationships have a considerable impact on our life. And by spending more time in association with good relationships, we resultantly get good outcomes. And the opposite is true with bad relationships. Here's the second point. 2, bad relationships have the potential to ruin you. They will ruin you. You have probably heard this old statement before, but I'm just going to say it for what it's worth, right? One bad apple will spoil the whole barrel. You heard that before? One bad apple will spoil the whole bunch, right? This is a fact of life. And why? Because a bad apple in a barrel emits an unseen gas affecting all the other apples. It's silently oozing out gas affecting every other apple in the barrel in the bunch. And it doesn't matter how many good apples are in the barrel. It just takes one bad apple to spoil the whole thing. And this is true about friends. At least that's what Paul is saying here, that those we associate with will have the greatest impact on our life. The people that you associate with the most will have the greatest impact on you. They will emit a gas or gases that affect how you look, smell, talk, and act throughout life. And this is just a fact of life. So if you're stuck in a repetitive sin issue, could it not be a relationship issue maybe that we need to address? Just think about this for a second. Just make me a list of your friends. Or better yet, let me look at your Snapchat, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook page. Let me see and read who you're spending the most time with. And I will tell you exactly who you are or who you are about to become. It's predictive. It's actually prophetic about your future. So if you're stuck in a repetitive pattern that's bad, could not part of the problem be the people that you're hanging out with? Which actually leads to the last point that Paul makes. 3, corruption of your morals. 3, corrupt morals are the end of this whole thing. Moral corruption is corruption actually at the deepest level. Your morals are your standards of, belief and behavior. And we tend to elevate them or lower them depending on the standard we accept, right? I don't know if you've ever heard this statement. I used to say this to my kids all the time. Where there's one boy, there's a whole brain. Where there's 2 boys, there's half a brain. Where there's 3 boys, there's a quarter brain. Where there's 4 boys, we have, no brain, right? And this is just one way to say that when a group of boys gets together, we know that they tend to think and act differently than when they're with other groups of people or even on their own. They lower their moral standards, right? And every parent knows this. Why? Because we did it too. So fellas, if you're stuck in a repetitive sin cycle today, I want you to try 2 things. This is it. Real short here today, right? Number 1, cut out one morally bad relationship. Not a bad behavior today. A bad relationship in your life. And then add in one godly relationship in your life who is very morally encouraging to you. Do you hear that? Cut out one morally bad relationship and add in one godly relationship. It's not just our behaviors and our thoughts and our attitudes and actions that needs to change. Sometimes it's our social environment, right? And sometimes repetitive sin actually cycles end by ending the wrong relationships. And so I hope you will heed Paul's advice in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 33 today. Bad company ruins good morals. So fellas, I love having you here. Thank you so much for joining us each and every time. Make sure and hit subscribe below. And always remember, be, live, and act resolute.